wild
Would you ever have
kids.
Tate on your podcast?
It's a conversation, right?
I don't feel like platforming this guy. The social media platforms have made it very clear how they feel about this guy, right? Put a little call out here to like fellow creators. You want to re-platform this guy? Anyone?
Logan Paul, the YouTube star who has millions of young followers, came under fire for posting an alarming video showing the body of a person who took their own life.
This has been, to be honest with you, the hardest time of my life. Never been hated by the whole world.
He was top G. He was the guy that could show you how to do it. YouTube, you got rules and I'm here to follow. And I with any, I like the platform.
Right, and the steak.
The steak is delicious.
The
steak tastes, the steak is delicious.
The steak is delicious.
Do we have a deal, Mr. Reagan?
I know this steak doesn't exist when I put it in my mouth. The Matrix is telling my brain
The
that
steak is delicious.
juicy and delicious. You know what I realize? Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, we're caught in the matrix. I don't give a It's great here.
The steak tastes, the steak is delicious.
The steak is delicious.
Then we have a deal.
As much as he talks about being outside of the matrix, now you're outside the club and we hear you complaining that you can't get in.
They killed Socrates because he's corrupting the youth of Athens. They don't want young men to look up to anybody. The left wants to turn young men into
Young women.
Yeah, you have these huge tech companies censoring, outright, literally erasing somebody. That's wrong.
You can't be weak.
Yeah.
And in this country, being weak is thought of as a virtue.
Yeah.
Jordan Peterson has a really interesting way of looking at this, and he said it to me once, and it made a lot of sense. He said, people think that you should be weak and you should be docile and then you should be a pacifist. He goes, no, you should be a monster. He said, you should be a monster, you should be ruthlessly ambitious, and then learn how to control it. And it's that old expression, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Wow.
I love how Joe is seducing this woman with this masculinity, and she just sits there and she keeps moaning.
Be weak.
Yeah.
And masculinity doesn't mean you're mean. It doesn't mean you're angry. It means strength.
Yes.
It means it's discipline. It means the uniqueness.
Yeah.
And she keeps moaning at his profound wisdom and his manhood.
There's an expression that I've said on this podcast many times, but I'll say it again, is that hard times create hard men. Hard men create soft times. Soft times create soft men. Soft men create hard times. We are now around soft men and hard times.
Yeah.
This woman's voice creates hard times too, if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
This woman's wows.
We are now.
And her yeses.
Yeah.
She is about to help me achieve and break the Guinness World Record for having a 20-inch erection.
Yeah. I mean, they encourage you to be triggered.
Yeah.
They encourage you to be weak.
Yeah.
They encourage you to be weak, right? When you go then they try not to expose you to any reality.
Like the difference between a dog and a wolf is just thousands of years of breeding. My dog Marshall, have you ever met Marshall? Sweetest fucking animal that's ever existed. But he's an ancestor of a wolf. They've turned him into this thing through thousands of years of breeding. Just like they're trying to do to men. Exactly. That's what they're trying to do.
Where's Andrew Tate when you need it? Where's Andrew Tate when you need it?
Oh, say less.
It's insanity, and it's all done on purpose. I don't want anyone to sit here and think this is some accident we've arrived at, or that we're here now and it's no big deal. This is very, very purposeful, because when you destroy the warriors of a society, that's how you usher in slavery. First thing the Romans did when they conquered the Greeks is kill all the warriors, all the fighting age males. You leave the soy boys and the bitches, and then you can conquer it. Done. That's what they're doing to us. They're trying to destroy the warriors. So my G's, the ones who are left.
He was saying things about women that he was saying that, like, what did he say that specifically got them triggered? Because
Well,
it was basically saying misogyny.
Bitch thought she was smart. She Googles up real mink fur. Let me show you. I found one, but it's $17,000. You know what I did? Bust the card out. Fucking ninja star. Ha! landed on her lap. Huh? What's that? It says my fucking debit card, bitch. Buy it. Don't know about me. You remember that, Tate? And he's still shook, still scared. Like 3 weeks later, just pick her up in the Lambo with my mink coat on. Start laughing. I can't believe you're actually wearing it. Ain't gonna be so funny when I fuck you in it, is it? Big dick swinging. Am I allowed to say this shit on YouTube? I'm Mr. Producer. Whoever I fucking belong.
Look, he plays, part of it is like a character, and part of it he's a legit world champion kickboxer who's a hard man.
So I was telling these guys.
Who doesn't buy any pussy bullshit. And that's what's resonating with young people.
And he's also pro-Trump.
The worry is that he is going to, the kids are going to listen to him because he's big on TikTok. My 12-year-old and my 14-year-old asked me about Andrew Tate.
And what'd you say?
What'd you say? I said he's a legit world champion kickboxer. I go, I like him a lot. Why do you like him? And I was asking him. And they said he says a lot of funny stuff on Twitter and TikTok.
Andrew, I know you said money isn't real, but I am getting fucked.
Have you ever seen anyone with a vape? Have you ever sat in a room? So we go, wait, let me just go. My vape's done charging. Load it up. I mean, I smoke cigars, but I know what the fuck I'm doing. Give me a big fat cigar. I'm risking cancer to look like a mafia boss. Fine. I'm not sitting there smoking cigars and going, I can't believe this is bad for me. No, like these fucking vape bullshit children. And what kind of parent lets their 16-year-old vape anyway? If I had a 16-year-old son, he's like, I got a vape. Get the fuck out of here, vape. Do some push-ups. You ain't got time to vape. You gotta do push-ups. You ain't got time. You're a little fucking punk talking to me about fucking vape. It's insane.
It's the TikTok thing, because the TikTok algorithm, he did something where he started something where you like join his group, and then you're supposed to like post stuff.
It's brilliant. That's how he gets followers, but also gives you a page.
He blew up.
Yes,
he blew up because
he's a brilliant man.
Yeah.
My thing is with the left who wants to cancel him and take him away, and they're like, we shouldn't look up to that. Okay, then who should we look up to?
Joe Biden. Joe Biden.
Who do you want to fill in for that?
But also, it's not their job to just say, hey, this guy's a danger to young men. What are you talking about? Like what a lot of times he was talking about how he says, become a high value person, man or woman, and don't fuck with people who are low quality.
He fucked
people.
up with the misogynist.
Yes.
Because if he didn't do that, if he just did the pro male stuff,
he'd been all right.
And pro accountability and pro discipline stuff, and he has this post. He goes, the way I think in the morning, how I feel, has no bearing on what I do.
People say, Tate, what motivates you? And I find that I think that's a stupid question.
I was a 4-time kickboxing world champion. For 12 years, I trained 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I was motivated to train probably about 25% of the time. The rest of the time I went because I am disciplined.
If I wake up and I'm unhappy, I will do the exact same things as if I am happy. I will go to the gym the same. I will work the same. How I feel has no impact on how I live my life. We're grown-ups and we have responsibilities and we have problems and we have pressure, and you don't necessarily have to be happy to perform, and happiness will come at the end of the performance anyway. But if your number one goal as a man, if your number one mission in life is just to be happy, that's going to be an extremely vaporous existence, and you're not going to be a man of substance.
Like if you're a guy already, everyone wants to talk about the benefits of being a guy, and there are benefits to being a guy. But one of the negative effects of being a guy that people don't talk about is guys that are unattractive and don't have any money. They are unheard and unseen. Unattractive guys with no money, they're in a very strange position in our society. Yeah, and like Andrew Tate, as much as people hate him, talked about that.
Life for a man is harder than life for a woman. We need to have a lot of shit to be an important man. To be a woman, you need makeup. If you're truly beautiful, you don't need anything else. I've been on boats in Dubai with 19-year-old Moldovan girls. The guy who got that boat needed $100 million. That bitch, makeup. Same boat. That's how hard it is. Look at a game of chess. The king moves one square at a time. What does the queen do? Zips here, zips there. Easy for a chick, right?
That he's like, it's a very small percentage of guys that have all the money and all the women and all the the fucking Ferraris and all that shit. He's like, to say that that's men, that's representative of men, is insane, because it is such a small percentage. Yeah. Now, are they if it's a guy like that who's got like diamond encrusted watches and he's fucking flashing and he's blinging and he's, you know, taking pictures with all these girls, it's obnoxious. Everybody else gets upset about it. But one of the reasons why they get upset about it is because they know how inaccessible that is.
Yeah. And
for most people, it's completely impossible.
And women don't like to hear that.
Toxic masculinity.
Patriarchy.
The patriarch.
Patriarchy. The patriarch.
We're in the time of toxic masculinity, right? Where you could be toxically male. Yeah. And then if you're suppressing masculinity, you're going to bring on hard times. It doesn't mean masculinity doesn't mean you're mean. Yeah. It doesn't mean you're angry. It means strength. Yes. It means discipline. It means the ability, like you need a military. And if you don't think you need a military, you need to go and pay attention to the rest of the world, because there's militaries all over the world that are doing horrific things. If you don't have a military in this country that can combat that and at least act as a deterrent to them doing things, you're going to get taken over. Yeah. That's what's happened. I mean, look what's happening to Hong Kong, right? I mean, this is a city that essentially doesn't have a military, and they were a British colony for a long time, and they gave it back over to China, and they were kind of acting like they were independent until recently. Yeah. And during the pandemic, they ramped it up, and it's gotten even worse. Yeah. It's exactly what we talked about. Mm-hmm. You can't be weak. Yeah. And in this country, being weak is thought of as a virtue. Yeah. Jordan Peterson has a really interesting way of looking at this, and he said it to me once, and it made a lot of sense. He said, people think that you should be weak and you should be docile, and then you should be a pacifist. He goes, no, you should be a monster. He said you should be a monster, you should be ruthlessly ambitious, and then learn how to control it.
I know I'm not the only one laughing at the fact that Joe is talking about masculinity, and this woman is just moaning, yeah. Yeah.
And it's that old expression, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Wow.
It's an old expression, but it makes sense, because it doesn't mean that you can't be kind if you're strong, but it does mean you can't be strong if you're weak. Yeah. If you're weak, you're fucked. And there's a lot of weak people in this country right now that are trying to take control. And they're gathering up all the other weak people. And they say, yeah, let's all be weak together. Yeah. And they're willing to embrace all sorts of ideas that have been disproven. Not just disproven, that have caused the deaths of untold millions of people. Yeah. In Maoist China and Stalinist Russia. And it's crazy. And they're short-sighted. And they're short-sighted because in the short term, they want their tribe to win, and there's so many weak people that'll join along with them.
Yeah. I mean, they encourage you to be triggered. Yeah. They encourage you to be weak, right?
Where's Andrew Tate when you need him?
Yes. Say something. Revolutions are nothing more than a bunch of men in one place. It's not women. It's men. If you put enough men on a city square pissed off, a revolution happens. That's what the people in charge of the world are afraid of. So to make sure there's no revolution, what they do is they construct as many divisions amongst the peasants as possible. They make sure the blacks hate the whites, the men hate the women, the Republicans hate the Democrats, and we're all so busy fighting with each other they can laugh from the top, because there's not very many of them and there's a bunch of us. I'm telling you, the reason in countries like America, the reason the law is so destructive against men is very, very purposeful. They don't want you to feel like a king. They don't want you to feel powerful. You wake up amongst 3 bitches. If you have fucking 10 sons from 10 baby mamas, you're going to wake up and feel like the man. You ain't taking shit easy. If you wake up on your fucking 3rd year of a sexless marriage, paying taxes, and your kids don't even listen to you, you don't really feel like rebellion. You don't have it inside of you. This is why there's so much fucking male suicide. This is why men are so depressed. This is why everyone's so unhappy, because the life they try and create for men, the things they try and purport, the ideas they try and make us subscribe to are depressing. They want you as a tax slave. They want you as a tax slave. They want you in a sexless marriage with some old fat bitch who hates you. That's what they want. Afraid to leave because they'll take your house and destroy your life's work. And they want you to sit there and pay your taxes until you fucking die. This is all done on purpose. None of this is an accident. It's all very purposeful. And in countries which are not like this, in countries where men still have that masculine essence, in countries where they're still in control of their own household, when the government tries to become tyrannical, it's far more difficult to do, because the men get together and say, you know what, women, clean the house. I'll be back in 2 hours. I'm gonna tell these guys to get fucked. And that's the reality of it. This is a control mechanism, along with everything else. Everything you see on TV, this is my final rant. Everything you see on TV is a control mechanism. All the shit they put on Netflix is a control mechanism. Telling you that you have mental problems you don't have is a control mechanism. Telling you, you can't focus on anything for 2 minutes because you have ADHD, or you're depressed and you can never fix it. They're trying to control you. They're trying to dampen your life force. Making sure your woman doesn't listen to you is a control mechanism. Making sure you can never leave her without being financially destroyed is a control mechanism. It's all control mechanisms, all of it from head to toe. You have to resist the slave mind. You have to look at it all and understand they are trying to make a slave of you. And when I say slave, I do not mean slave likely. I mean the word slave. They are printing money from the sky and you're giving up your life for it. If they can create something in unlimited amounts anytime they want, and you'll give up your life and time for that said thing, you are their slave. They don't need to use power and control and whips anymore. They just have the money print button. It's slavery. And they need to make sure that even if you know that, you don't feel powerful enough to do anything about it. All of this, every single thing about the modern world was deliberately constructed to get us to a point where they can come along and lock you in your house for something with a 99.9% survival rate, and you're going to sit there and take it like a bitch anyway. That's what all this shit is, including being in a position where you can't even tell your own woman she's not allowed out with her friends to get fucking drunk with a bunch of dudes, because you're not even allowed to do that. If a wife comes home and goes, I want to go out drinking tonight, you go, you're not fucking going nowhere. Oh, I want to go out with my friends from work. You're not going out with them men. That's coercive and controlling behavior. Bro, you can't even tell your bitch not to go get fucking drunk with dudes.
They'll call that abusive.
You're an abusive misogynist. You're Andrew Tate. Cancel him. It's insanity, and it's all done on purpose. I don't want anyone to sit here and think this is some accident we've arrived at, or that we're here now and it's no big deal. This is very, very purposeful, because when you destroy the warriors of a society, that's how you usher in slavery. First thing the Romans did when they conquered the Greeks is kill all the warriors, all the fighting age males. You leave the soy boys and the bitches, and then you can conquer it. Done. That's what they're doing to us. They're trying to destroy the warriors. So my G's, the ones who are left, don't worry about fucking some pussy. We got bigger fights coming up. We got bigger wars coming ahead of us. So if you want to fuck some pussy, go fuck it. Because I really believe the next 10 years are going to be difficult for men of stature. I really believe that. So that's my final speech.
Came here, delivered the sermon. I'm telling you, it's very few. And by the way, I see Myron over there. He knows he ain't never seen me this speechless and just taking in game ever.
That's it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And if you enjoy the content, don't forget to hit the thank you button. And also, don't forget to follow us on Bumble. Click here.
In a room full of 100 dicks, how many are you going to choke on?
None. 0.
That's really impressive.
Wait.